Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Isabelle Hetrick. I am a proud member of the board of the National Low Income Housing Coalition. I'm also recently with Accessible Housing Austin and have spent 15 years in the affordable housing development community here in Austin. And this is a really important event for the community as a whole, for the country as a whole. This is part of a national housing week of action. And it's also an important event for me personally. I want to say that I think this is bigger. This is more than about dollars. This is about justice. Some of the most egregious abrogations of justice in the last century were committed around housing. And if we want to achieve racial justice and economic justice and disability justice in this country, housing is going to be one of the most important places that we address that. So with that in mind, I would like to, I will be introducing our speakers, and I'm really honored to introduce Stephanie Thomas with ADAPT as our first speaker. Please give her a round of applause. Thank you.
Hi, I want to welcome everyone who's here, and I want to commend all of you for coming out for this really important event. Housing is critical for people's lives, and this event is part of a national housing week of action that has been called by many national housing advocates. There are over 50 communities across the country who are participating that I know of, and you can find out more about the national effort at a website called Our Homes, Our Voices. They're going to have events throughout the week, and what happened is that here in Austin, a coalition of housing advocates got together with groups including Neighbors United for Progress, Austin Habitat for Humanity, Foundation Communities, Accessible Housing Austin, ADAPT, Austin Tenants Council, Aura, Austin Housing Coalition, the Housing Works Austin, the Mary Lee Foundation, Outreach Health, Texas Association of Community Development Corporations, and the Texas Low Income Housing and Information Services are just a few of the groups that were involved in planning this. And the idea was that, we're probably living in one of the least affordable communities in the United States. And people live here who do jobs that we don't have we don't pay attention to, but they are so vital to our community going on. And their salaries are so low, and people, they just need a little help from our communities, and they're really not getting it. And what happened is that we found out about the cuts that were coming from the federal level. The president's budget included so many terrible cuts. We came together and we said, we've got to do something about this. And so we organized Austin Homes, Austin Voices to try to respond to that. This event, this press conference, is a kickoff of a week of different events that are going to be going on. And if you go to the Facebook page, Austin Homes, Austin Voices, you can find out more about that. But I want to just give you a little flavor. This is just a sampling of what is being proposed for housing this year. The president talked about eliminating the Housing Trust Fund, the only new program that has been put together to try to get housing for the lowest income Americans, to eliminate home funding, which is one of the major financial help for building new low-income housing, community development block grants, which is like a 50-year-old program that helps local communities decide what they want to see in terms of improvements in their community, and it funds all kinds of things. Just eliminate all of those programs. They want to cut the voucher program so that over 250,000 voucher holders will be thrown off of the program. And as anyone that follows housing knows, there are years-long waiting lists, 6 years, 10 years, in some communities longer than that, waiting for vouchers. They want to cut the 811 program, which is housing for people with disabilities. They want to cut silly things like les hazard control. They want to cut public housing 68%. They want to move to privatize it as fast as possible. They want to cut homelessness assistance by over $1 billion. They want to change the rules in housing and make it easier for the housing secretary to do things like increase rents, prohibit people getting utility assistance and rental assistance at the same time. They basically just want to punish people who don't bother to get really super high income jobs, who aren't able to do that. And we just couldn't stand it to just sit by and just let that go and, oh well, just another problem out there. We came together because we want to see this community rise up and say that is not okay. Housing is so vital to people's lives. And some of our other speakers today are going to tell you about the important role it can play in changing and improving what people do. But I just want everyone watching to think about, what would you do if you had nowhere to live? What would you do if you had no home? Don't we have enough homeless in this country? It doesn't take a brain surgeon to realize we need more funding for housing, not less. So let's get together and do it right.
Stephanie, thank you so much. Now I have the privilege of introducing Robert Hewitt. Robert is a veteran and a resident at Capitol Studios, an affordable housing community here in Austin.
Hello everyone. My name is Robert Hewitt. It is an honor to be with you here today. Okay, sound check. Better? Is this better? Okay, thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Robert Hewitt. It is an honor to be with you here today. I'm a veteran of the United States Army and have lived at Capitol Studios for the last 2.5 years. Capitol Studios is an affordable housing community in downtown Austin. It is owned and operated by Foundation Communities. Living at Capitol Studios not only saved my life, it restored my dignity. I know many people here and across Austin have experiences similar to mine. I'd like to share some of my story with you today. My life changed drastically in my late 40s. I was a successful storage engineer, but started to lose my hearing. As my hearing loss progressed, I was unable to continue my job and had difficulty finding work. Without steady employment or support from family and friends, my financial situation worsened. My savings depleted. I felt desperate, and I decided I would start driving a truck. I thought this would be a way to make money, and I wouldn't have to pay rent. I could sleep in my truck. However, the hours were unsustainable, sometimes 18-hour shifts at a time, and I didn't have anywhere else to turn. My hearing was almost completely gone at this point, and carrying on a conversation was impossible. Without a place to sleep, I became homeless. I went to the Veterans Administration for help. The VA put me in a shelter for 6 months. Then, I learned there was an opening at Capitol Studios. Given the demand for affordable housing in this city, I was told I needed to show up early to get an application. I knew this was a second chance for me. I wanted a place of my own, where I could have my own shower, my own bed, and be able to lock the door behind me. Until you've completely lost privacy and your security, you can't possibly comprehend how important this is. I showed up at Capitol Studios with a fellow veteran at 4 a.m. in the morning. No one else was there, but that's how badly I wanted this, a home. Understand, becoming hearing impaired later in my life shook the tectonic plates of my existence. I felt lost and had little to no confidence. Every conversation, and every social experience, even just walking down the street, was completely different. For a long time, I didn't know how to adjust. Now, I use hearing aids provided to me by the VA. I am slowly becoming more social. Having a home I can afford has given me a sense of stability and confidence. I am one of many veterans who use a VASH voucher to help pay my rent. VASH is a joint effort by HUD and the VA. I work part-time, but wouldn't be able to afford a place in Austin without this assistance. This program is critical for housing homeless veterans and connecting them with clinical services and case management that they need. We need more federal funding, not less. For building affordable housing in Austin. There are far too many people in our city who still need a place to call home. We must oppose the cuts to federal funding. This is about making our city a better place for everyone to live. Affordable housing gave me a second chance at living a meaningful life. I believe more of my neighbors deserve that same chance. Thank you.
Robert, thank you so much for sharing that. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Jacqueline Perez, who is a Habitat for Humanity owner.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline Bennett and I'm a proud and blessed homeowner because of Austin Habitat for Humanity. My parents came to Austin 27 years ago. All that time treading in water, barely keeping their head above water, we haven't been able to achieve the American dream. I'm proud to say that their daughter now has that American dream. For my daughter, for my fiance, I'm able to provide a stable house, a safe house, a future for my daughter. Before this, I had my parents' home, which is a lovely home. They were renting, rent was going up every renewal. And I had to realize I had to do something. Knowing that there's programs like Austin Habitat for people like me, I rushed in there. I called every month, asked if there was anything that I needed to do, anything that I could possibly help with. And I got the call that there was a home for me. I still remember that day. I still get the shakes that I received that day because I cannot believe that that came true for me, for my daughter. If anything, Austin, like everyone has said, needs more funding. Austin is a beautiful city, beautiful families, beautiful people here that deserve stable and safe housing. Working in the apartment industry, I know how brutal it could be on people, how unwilling to even understand people's circumstances it could rise. And I hope that this makes a difference. I hope that hearing our stories allows people to understand what we go through. I'm blessed to have a home, but I know I'm not the last person that needs one. I know that there's many, many, many families here, many individuals that have been fighting just as hard as my parents did, but still have not been able to find a stable house. Please keep funds. If not the same, even raise them. We need more. We need more. You see these people. These are your neighbors. These are the people that you see walking across the street. Allow them to have the stable housing that they deserve, that we all deserve. Thank you.
so much to Jacqueline. I would like to now introduce Robin Wilkins. Robin serves as a board member on the Austin Tenants Council.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Robin Wilkins. I'm a member of the Austin Tenant Council. But today I am the voice of thousands of families and friends who receive and are still in need of affordable housing. I am here to ask President Trump not to cut $7.4 billion from the HUD budget, but to increase it. Yeah. Cutting $7.4 billion from the budget is like telling thousands of families that they will be homeless. Right. Affordable housing is a must. In Austin, making minimum wage, you would have to work 80 plus hours a week. Think about that, 80 plus hours a week to afford a one bedroom. It's not feasible. Then we have thousands of people who are on a fixed income of less than $750 a month. You can't find a one bedroom for that anywhere. HUD funding helps these families, and without HUD funding, these families would not be able to afford to live anywhere. Every city, every state needs affordable housing. If we're going to make America great, then we need to start with affordable housing. Affordable housing gives families a sense of stability, gives families a chance at life, and most important, gives families a home. So let's all stand together from one state to another. Let our voices be heard, because each and every one of us knows a person, a place, or an organization that will be affected by these cuts. Thank you.
Robin, thank you so much. And now I have the great pleasure in welcoming City Council member Jimmy Flanagan. Sorry for the tongue twister there. Please join me in welcoming him.
Let's hear it one more time for all the amazing speakers that have already come to the microphone. My name is Jimmy Flanagan. I have the honor and the privilege of representing the City Council District 6 here in Austin. These cuts that are being proposed by the federal government are devastating to this community and to the work that we're trying to do at City Hall. It's no surprise to anyone. There is a national housing crisis. A national housing crisis. This is not just an Austin problem. In fact, in my council district, I actually represent 2 counties. I'm a Williamson County resident myself, the first to serve on the Austin City Council. I'm also the only renter to serve on the Austin City Council right now. So I understand personally the fear and the risk of rising rents and the flight out to the suburbs. Travis County, over a third of Travis County renters spend more than half their money on rent. But it's almost 50% in Williamson County. This is not a problem that's relegated to one part of town, or to one color, or to one creed, or to one age. This is a problem that is permeating our whole community, not just in Austin, but in every city, and in every suburb, and in every rural part of this nation. We need solutions from our national leaders. We need them to know that we are paying attention. It is very easy to get distracted by the nonsense and the news cycles coming out of Washington, D.C. There is a lot of scary, mind-bogglingly things happening by our national leaders. But there is still policy being made. Policy that dramatically affects the lives of Austinites every single day. This is just one example. And it's not just housing assistance. These programs help community benefits like fire stations and veterans programs and after-school programs. This is a much bigger deal than just a couple of $1 million in a tax cut that is going to benefit no one but the most high earners in our nation. We have to fight. We have to fight to protect our communities. We have to fight to protect our friends and neighbors. We have to fight to protect the disabled and seniors and veterans, all of whom have fought hard for our community. in this building at City Hall to do everything we can to help every Austinite. There are many tools in the toolbox in local government to try to address this housing crisis, and the grants that come from the federal government are one of those tools. We have to address housing supply in addition to addressing housing costs. We have to address transportation costs in addition to housing costs. But we cannot do it alone. We need the assistance that we have benefited from for generations that were represented by these programs. We have to call and contact our elected representatives. We have to send them letters. We have to send them faxes. We have to make their phones ring to the point that no other work can get done in Washington until this problem is fixed. We have a table over to the side with postcards pre-addressed to our senators. Please go out and fill out a postcard. Let your elected representatives know, and get your communities registered to vote and ready to vote in November of 2018.
Please, let's have another round of applause for Councilmember Flanagan. So I am about to read a statement by one of our federal elected officials, Representative Lloyd Doggett. Before I do that, I want to point everybody over in this direction to a wall raising that we will be happening at the end of our program to symbolize our unity as a community in advocating and fighting hard for these for the funding for affordable housing that our community and our country needs. Here's Representative Doggett's statement. A salute to Austin Habitat for Humanity, Foundation communities, and others of you there for all that you regularly do for our community. Your commitment to some of our most disadvantaged neighbors is always inspiring. The Trump budget greatly harms our already difficult struggle to address affordable housing challenges in Austin. There is not an education or social services initiative in Central Texas that will go undamaged if this appalling budget is implemented. All of these cuts to provide a few at the top with another tax windfall while still digging us deeper into debt. Republicans are building an economic ladder with all the rungs at the top. Thank you for continuing to express our shared values and our united concern about this vital matter. We must continue to resist and persist. Thank you, Representative Doggett. So I really appreciate all of you who have shown up today, and I want to say that this concludes our program. We are about to have our wall raising over there, so please join us. And afterwards, if you are a member of the media, there will be the spokespeople who have spoken today will be over in the area close to the wall raising. Thank you all so much.
Walter.